Do you know why your life is the way it is right now? It's not because of where you were born. It's not because of who your parents are. And it's not even because of what you've been through. Your life is exactly what your mind has allowed it to become. The greatest prison in the world is not made of bars or walls. It's made of thoughts. You can sit in a beautiful house, drive a fine car, wear expensive clothes, and still be a prisoner if your mind has not been renewed. You see, nothing in your life can permanently change until your thinking changes. A poor man with a rich mindset will rise, but a rich man with a poor mindset will fall. You don't live life as it is. You live life as you are in your mind. That's why two people can face the same situation. One sees opportunity, the other sees defeat. One grows, the other gives up. The difference isn't the problem, it's the perception. Your mind is the womb of your destiny. Every dream, every failure, every success, it's all conceived in your thoughts. If you can change the way you think, you can change the way you live. Because life doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your mindset. Your life will never rise higher than your mindset. You can have all the talent, all the opportunities, and all the connections in the world, but if your thinking is small, your life will always shrink to fit it. The limits of your life are drawn by the boundaries of your mind. You cannot think like a prisoner and live like a king. You cannot carry a mindset of fear and expect a life of freedom. The truth is, your life expands or contracts in direct proportion to your thoughts that look around you. Every invention, every success story, every great achievement you admire began not with money, not with power, but with a mindset, a way of thinking that refused to settle. Successful people don't live differently because they are more gifted. They live differently because they think differently. They look at the same problems others run from and say, there's a way. They see possibility where others see obstacles. They feed their minds with ideas that lift them higher instead of beliefs that hold them down. Your mindset is like a thermostat. It sets the temperature of your life. No matter what happens, you will always return to the level of thinking you've accepted as normal. If your mindset is set low, even if someone gives you something great, you'll eventually pull it back down to match your belief. But when your mindset is high, when you believe you're capable of more, worthy of more, destined for more, your life will begin to rise to meet that belief. Think of it like this. A bird born in a cage doesn't know what freedom feels like. Even if you open the door, it might not fly out because its mind is still trapped. Many people live the same way. Their cage isn't physical, it's mental. They stay where they are because their thoughts tell them this is all you'll ever have or you're not good enough. And because they believe it, they live it. But the moment your mindset changes, the moment you dare to believe that you can rise higher, the cage disappears. Your mindset controls the lens through which you see the world. Two people can experience the same setback. One calls it failure. The other calls it feedback. One gives up. The other grows up. One sees pain. The other sees purpose. Life doesn't change because of what happens. Life changes because of how you interpret what happens. The greatest freedom you'll ever experience is the freedom to choose your perspective. If you want to rise higher, start by examining your thoughts. What do you believe about yourself? About your potential, about what's possible for your future? Because whatever you believe, right or wrong, you'll prove it true. If you believe you can't, you won't even try. If you believe you're not enough, you'll settle for less. But if you believe you were made for more, if you believe your life has meaning, you'll start thinking and acting in alignment with that belief, and life will begin to rise with you. Every breakthrough begins in the mind before it ever happens in reality. You can't change your job, your relationships, or your circumstances permanently without changing the mindset that created them. That's why people who win the lottery often end up back where they started. Their circumstances changed, but their mindset didn't. Your mindset is the foundation upon which everything else is built. If the foundation is weak, the structure can't stand for long. So challenge your thoughts, question your limits, feed your mind with growth, not fear. Surround yourself with people who stretch your thinking, not those who shrink your vision. Protect your mental space like a treasure, because it is. Every time you expand your thinking, your life takes a step forward. Remember this: before your life can rise, your mindset must rise first. Because no matter how high you climb, you can only go as far as your mind allows you to believe you can. You can't have a new life with an old way of thinking. That's where most people get stuck. They dream of change. They talk about transformation. They even pray for something new, but they refuse to let go of the thoughts that keep producing the same results. You cannot live a different life while holding on to the same mental patterns that built your current one. Change doesn't begin outside. It begins inside. If your mind stays the same, your life will stay the same. An old mindset is like outdated software. It can't run new programs. You might want success, but if your thoughts are still wired for fear, doubt, and limitation, your life will keep crashing every time opportunity tries to load. That's why it's not enough to wish for better. You must think for better. A new season demands a new mindset. You can't enter a higher level carrying the thinking that belonged to the lower one. So many people want to move forward, but they're chained by their own thoughts. They keep replaying old failures, reliving old pain, repeating old stories about why they can't. They carry mental habits built from disappointment, rejection, and fear. And every time they try to move, those memories whisper, "You've been here before, it didn't work then." But here's the truth: the past only has power when your mind keeps it alive. The moment you decide to stop feeding it, it loses its grip. The mind is powerful. It remembers what you feed it most. If you keep feeding it doubt, it will give you excuses. If you feed it fear, it will give you reasons to quit. But if you feed it vision, belief, and determination, it will give you direction. Your thoughts are seeds. Whatever you plant consistently will eventually grow into the reality you live in. You can't plant negative thinking and expect a positive life. You can't water fear and expect confidence to bloom. Every great change starts with one brave decision to think differently. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about shifting how you see yourself and your future. When you believe change is possible, your actions begin to align with that belief. You start seeing doors where you used to see walls. You start hearing possibilities where you once heard impossible. A renewed mindset gives birth to new energy, new confidence, and new results. Imagine trying to pour fresh water into a dirty glass. No matter how pure the water is, the residue of the old will contaminate it. That's how many people live. They try to fill their lives with new goals, new habits, and new dreams. But the old mindset pollutes everything. You can't hold on to the old and expect the new to flow. The glass must be emptied before it can be filled again. Letting go isn't losing, it's making space for something greater. Growth demands release. You must release the thoughts that tell you you're not enough. Release the mindset that expects failure before it even tries. Release the belief that your circumstances define you. Because as long as you think the same, you'll keep living the same. The moment your thinking changes, life starts rearranging itself around that new mindset. Think of your life as a reflection of your mind. What you see on the outside is only a projection of what's been accepted on the inside. If you want new results, you must upgrade the reflection. You can't step into a new reality wearing the mindset of your old identity. Change begins when you stop saying, "This is just who I am," and start asking, "Who can I become?" The most powerful transformation doesn't come when you change your circumstances. It comes when you change your perspective. Because when your mind evolves, everything else adjusts to follow. That's when progress feels natural, not forced. That's when opportunities start finding you instead of you chasing them. Remember, the old you can't live in the new season. The mindset that got you here cannot take you there. When your thinking rises to match your vision, your life will begin to rise to meet it. The greatest transformation begins in the invisible realm of your thoughts. Before anything changes in your life, something must shift within your mind. Every visible change is born from an invisible decision. People often look at success and think it happened overnight, but what they don't see is the mental transformation that took place long before the results ever showed. Your mind is the workshop of your future. It's where your destiny is first designed, shaped, and built. Transformation doesn't begin when circumstances improve. It begins when thinking improves. A person who changes their habits without changing their mindset will always return to the same patterns. That's why people start strong, but fall back. They change their actions, but their thoughts never evolve to support the new version of themselves. Real transformation is not behavior modification. It's mindset renovation. Until the old mental blueprint is replaced, The old results will always rebuild themselves. The invisible realm of thought is where the real battles are fought and won. It's where doubt wrestles with faith, fear competes with courage, and limitation tries to silence potential. The problem is not that you can't, it's that you think you can't. The walls that stop you are not around you, they are inside you. That's why you must guard your inner world more carefully than anything else, because your outer world is simply a mirror of it. Every day, you are planting seeds through your thoughts, some seeds of growth, others of destruction. The challenge is that you can't always see what's growing until it's too late. If you consistently think thoughts of defeat, life will hand you evidence of defeat. But if you train your mind to focus on vision, discipline, and purpose, you'll begin to attract the very things that align with that mindset. The invisible eventually becomes visible. What you meditate on manifests. Think of transformation like construction. Before a skyscraper rises into the sky, engineers spend months, sometimes years, working on the foundation underground, unseen. The higher the building, the deeper the foundation must go. Your life works the same way. If you want to rise high, you must first dig deep into your thoughts, your beliefs, your mindset. The depth of your mental foundation will determine the height of your life's potential. You can't skip the invisible work. Too many people want results without renewal, progress, without process, elevation without evolution. But the truth is, lasting change always begins where no one can see. It starts when you choose to think differently, when you challenge the negative patterns that have been running your mind for years. You might not see instant results, but every new thought is a brick in the foundation of your future. Your mind is like a garden. It doesn't care what you plant. It will grow whatever you sow. Plant fear and you'll harvest hesitation. Plant doubt and you'll harvest delay. But plant faith in yourself. Plant determination. Plant a vision for your life, and in time, you'll see that invisible work bloom into visible transformation. The invisible realm of your thoughts is not just a place of ideas, it's the birthplace of change. Everything you are today is a reflection of the thoughts you've been entertaining. Every limitation that holds you is a product of what you've been allowing to live in your mind. But the beauty of transformation is this: you can change your entire life by changing your thoughts one by one. You have the power to rebuild the architecture of your mind, to replace I can't with I will, to trade excuses for execution, to turn doubt into drive. When your thoughts begin to align with growth, your actions follow naturally. You no longer have to force yourself to change. You begin to become change. Your energy shifts. Your confidence strengthens. Your focus sharpens. What used to intimidate you now inspires you, because your mind has evolved beyond fear. Remember this: the most powerful transformation you'll ever experience doesn't start in your hands or your environment. It starts in your mind. Because before life can look different, your thinking must first be different. The invisible transformation of your thoughts is the seed of every visible breakthrough you will ever have. What you see in your mind determines what you experience in your life. Your mind is the screen on which your future is projected. Before anything becomes real in your world, it first becomes real in your imagination. You cannot live beyond the pictures you hold in your mind. If your mental vision is small, your life will stay small. If you constantly see defeat, you'll walk in defeat. But when you begin to see possibility, progress, and purpose, your life starts moving in that direction, because your mind always leads before your feet ever follow. Not every great achiever first saw something no one else could see. They didn't wait for evidence. They created evidence with their vision. The picture in your mind is the prophecy of your future. When you see yourself succeeding, you give your mind a target to aim for. When you see yourself growing, learning, and rising, your thoughts, actions, and habits begin to align with that image. That's how vision works. It pulls you toward the life you imagine. But most people live with blurry vision. They've allowed fear, failure, and past experiences to cloud their mental picture. They no longer see what's possible, they only see what's familiar. And the danger of familiarity is that it keeps you stuck in cycles that look like comfort but feel like confinement. You can't experience a new chapter if your mind is still replaying the old one. Until you change the picture inside, life outside will remain the same. Your imagination is not just fantasy, it's a creative force. Every time you visualize yourself doing better, living better, becoming better. You're giving life instructions on where to go next. The problem is, most people use this same power in reverse. They imagine the worst. They see themselves failing, and life, obedient to the picture, follows suit. You can't keep seeing yourself as broken and expect to live whole. You can't keep visualizing scarcity and expect to attract abundance. The mind can only create what it sees clearly. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeatedly imagined. That's why elite athletes visualize success before stepping on the field. They rehearse victory in their mind until it feels natural, because what you repeatedly picture, you unconsciously prepare for. You don't stumble into greatness. You see it long before you arrive. Your mind is your first environment. And if that environment is filled with clarity, hope, and purpose, your external environment will eventually mirror it. If you want to change your life, start painting a new picture in your mind. See yourself confident. See yourself disciplined. See yourself free from fear. See yourself achieving what once looked impossible. Because the image you hold becomes the instruction your brain follows. You move toward what you see most. That's why when you believe in defeat, you subconsciously create it. But when you believe in possibility, you begin to attract it. Think of it like this. Your mind is a movie projector and your life is the screen. If you don't like the movie you're watching, don't blame the screen. Change the film. Change the image inside, and the entire picture outside will shift. The story of your life is being directed by the thoughts you allow to play in your mental theater. So stop replaying old scenes of failure and start scripting new ones of faith, confidence, and victory. Your mental vision determines your emotional state. When you see only obstacles, you feel overwhelmed. But when you see opportunity, you feel empowered. That's why the way you see yourself matters more than how anyone else sees you. People's opinions can change in a moment, but your self-image determines your momentum. You'll never perform consistently in a way that's inconsistent with how you see yourself. So guard your imagination like a gatekeeper. Feed it with inspiration, not limitation. Surround yourself with images, words, and people that expand your vision, because whatever dominates your mind will eventually define your life. Remember this: if you can see it in your mind, you can move toward it in your life. The clearer your inner vision becomes, the quicker your outer reality begins to transform. What you see within will always create what you experience without. Until your mind changes, your circumstances will always repeat themselves. Life has a strange way of replaying lessons until you finally learn them. If you ever feel like you keep ending up in the same situation, facing the same struggles, attracting the same kind of people, or fighting the same battles, it's not coincidence, it's a cycle. And that cycle is powered by the way you think. Nothing truly changes on the outside until something permanently changes on the inside. You can move to a new city, start a new job, or enter a new relationship, but if your mindset hasn't evolved, you'll recreate the same patterns in different places with different faces. That's why some people keep living the same year over and over again and call it a life. They change everything around them except the one thing that truly matters, their mind. Because you can't outrun your thinking. Wherever you go, your mindset goes with you. Your circumstances are like a mirror. They reflect what your mind consistently produces. The same thoughts will always generate the same behaviors, and the same behaviors will always create the same results. Change the thoughts, and everything else must eventually align. That's why it's not the world that needs to change first, it's the world within you. When your inner conversation changes, your outer condition starts to follow. You can't expect growth while holding on to thoughts that sabotage it. If your mind still operates from fear, you'll keep attracting situations that confirm your fear. If your mindset is built on lack, you'll always find yourself running out. But when your mind begins to operate from confidence, clarity, and purpose, the world around you starts to reorganize itself to match that energy. Life doesn't fight your thinking, it cooperates with it. Every time you think a thought, you send a signal to your life saying, this is what I expect. And life, faithful to your expectations, responds in kind. If your thoughts say, I'll never get ahead, life gives you proof. If your thoughts say, I always attract negativity, life sends more of it your way. But the moment your thoughts begin to shift when you say, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm capable, Your entire rhythm of living begins to shift with it. The same energy that once kept you stuck starts to push you forward. It's easy to blame circumstances, but real power begins when you take responsibility for your mindset. Because the truth is, the problem is never the situation, it's the interpretation. Two people can face the same obstacle. One sees it as the end, the other as a beginning. One gets trapped, the other gets transformed. What separates them isn't luck, it's mindset. When your mind changes, the same challenge that used to break you will now build you. Think of your mindset like the soil of your life. If the soil is dry, nothing new can grow. You can plant new dreams, new goals, even new opportunities, but if the ground of your thinking is still hardened by doubt, fear, and regret, those seeds won't take root. You have to till the soil, soften it, refresh it, renew it. Because a new harvest can't grow in an old mindset. The ground must be made ready before new life can emerge. The danger of an unchanged mind is that it tricks you into thinking progress is happening when it's not. You might be busy, you might be moving, but if your thoughts remain the same, you're only running in circles. Change requires more than activity, it requires awareness. You can't elevate with the same thoughts that kept you low. You can't build a new chapter with the same words you used in your last one. So take a moment to look at the patterns in your life. What keeps repeating? What cycle keeps showing up no matter how much you try to escape it? That's where your mind needs renewal. The repetition isn't punishment, it's instruction. Life keeps presenting the same lessons until your mindset evolves enough to break the cycle. And once your mind shifts, everything changes with it. Doors that used to be closed suddenly open. Opportunities that once went unnoticed begin to appear. The same environment that felt limiting now feels full of potential. Because your world doesn't change first, your mindset does. Remember this, your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts. Until your mind changes, your circumstances will always return to their old patterns. But the moment you begin to think differently, your future begins to rewrite itself. Your life is waiting for you to rise, not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Because nothing around you will ever shift until something within you does. You've carried potential long enough. Now it's time to unleash it. You've dreamed of change long enough. Now it's time to become it. The power to transform your life isn't hidden in the world. It's hidden in your mindset. Every thought you choose is a brushstroke painting the picture of your destiny. So decide today to think higher, believe deeper, and see further. Don't let the past define your next step. Let your vision do it. Refuse to let fear write another page of your story. Stand up, shake off the old mindset, and step boldly into the life that's been waiting for you all along. You are not limited by your circumstances. You are only limited by your thoughts. And the moment you break that mental barrier, the world will have no choice but to make room for the new you. Remember, your future doesn't begin when everything changes. It begins when you do. So change your mindset and watch your life transform beyond anything you've ever imagined. The world is waiting for the best version of you. Go out there and live like you believe it. Good luck and thank you.